You've been here before. Sure you have. I never forget a face. Come over here and shake my hand. You know what? I recognise who you were even before I saw your face good, just by the way you walk. You've been here before. Come down and sit down here on the bandstand with me and sit a spell. Now that's how Needful Things starts, okay? Close to that. I didn't fucking write it down and get it word for word, but it's pretty damn close. It has a prologue just telling us that we've been here before, okay? This video, in case you weren't aware, is my video of Needful Things chapters 1 through 8. I have joined... Oh, sorry, I think I'm bouncing my camera around. I have joined a new Facebook page. It's cool. There's some good people on it. There's not many people in it. It's literally just a group reading of Needful Things. Okay? So I jumped straight on board with that. I thought it was fantastic. You've seen my videos sort of proposing the group read. And we all got ahead of ourselves. We're not supposed to be up to where we're at, but I just finished chapter 8 fucking 10 minutes ago. And other people are, well, there. So, straight away, I've got some notes, okay? But let's talk about this book, okay? Let's talk about Stephen King. Let's talk about Castle Rock. Now, Stephen King first wrote about Castle Rock in The Body. Fuck, I hope I'm wrong. Because, you know, I don't Google shit. So The Body, or was The Dark Half before The Body? I'm certain The Dark Half was after different seasons. You know what? Fucking quote me on that. The Dark Half was published after different seasons. Now, The Dark Half is a Castle Rock novel. The Body is a Castle Rock novel. It's more of a character study. But, you know, Needful Things is also a character study. And apparently, so this came out like early 90s. Apparently King wanted to finish off his Castle Rock saga. So he did it with Needful Things. Now, he did it right at the end of his sort of cocaine, alcoholism, addiction thing. You know, we all know how we felt the first time we read Insomnia, when we realised Stephen King was off fucking drugs and booze, and how much harder it was to get right into this story. Now, Needful Things doesn't have that fucking issue. Needful Things starts on page 1 and just never lets up. Now, in this group discussion on Facebook, me and a few of my friends, the Tinas and the Hollies and the Ravens, have been chatting about sort of how quick this fucking book, the span of days is in this book, the span of action. So, like, it starts off, 2 weeks prior, explaining how the towns felt about this new shop opening up in Castle Rock. This shop is called Needful Things. But it officially starts on a Tuesday where this young kid named Brian Rusk gets a sneak peek of this shop, Needful Things, right? Everybody's talking about it. Small town, Castle Rock. Nobody knows what the fuck it is. Needful Things. Shit, it could be anything. Brian Rusk is walking home from school one day, nearly gets run over by Hugh Priest to make you squeak, little buddy. That's fucking cracking me up, by the way. I'm running that into the ground. Anyway, Brian Rusk is daydreaming. He's in love with his fucking teacher, his speech therapist. And he's walking past the new shop. Now, it's used to say opening day, fucking rah-rah. Now it says open. And he's like, oh shit, fucking holy crap, it's open. I'm going to be the first one in town, which will make his mum very jealous, to check out this new fucking shop called Needful Things. So he goes in there. And, I mean, he looks at all these old antique trinkets and shit and thinks, well, you know, his mum and her friend Myra we're probably right. This is just some fucking antique, you know, shitty little shop. Won't last long, probably blow out of town in a few months. But he goes in and he's like, is anybody here? And then a voice says from the back, I'm here. And it's Leyland Gaunt, right? We meet our bad guy. I'm sorry. Okay, so there's a reason I'm telling you straight off the bat, whether you've read it or not, that Gaunt is the bad guy, all right? This is a Stephen King book when nearly all he was doing was fucking blowing up towns and bringing supernatural beings to them to fuck with small town folk. Needful Things is no exception. You know, and I wrote a note here, and it's a note that I want to actually discuss with you. It's something that just occurred to me while I was reading these first 8 chapters. I've reviewed The Outsider by Stephen King, his 2017 novel about, you know, a homicidal fucking creature. Now, if you read The Outsider, I read people's comments and that saying, God, it was okay, but I just didn't really know what was going on. Now, I understood The Outsider to a T. I thought it was one of the scariest books he's ever written. I loved it. But you're right, it doesn't give away any mystery. Like, you don't know who's killing these kids. And our detective, Ralph Anderson, is finding that out while we're finding that out. Now, the difference between The Outsider and Needful Things is, straight away, you get to fucking meet Leyland Gaunt, the bad guy. You get to get in his head and actually work out what his motivations are. And that's in the first 8 chapters of the book. You actually get quite a few opportunities to fucking do that. Which, you know, makes being told in the third person, it lets us, the reader, in on the fucking mystery. Now, there is a mystery, you know. Alan Pangborn, the local sheriff, has no fucking idea what's going on, and everybody's got the wool pulled over their eyes by this new guy, Leyland Gaunt. We know that there's some bad shit going on, but the townsfolk don't. But we know from the fucking, from nearly page 1, when the narrator tells us there's a storm on the way. So there's no mystery here. There's no fucking mystery here. King is happy with us knowing the mind of the monster, you know, actually getting to read parts where we're reading in the mind of Leyland Gaunt. And that makes it a completely opposite horror novel to The Outsider. And that was just something I wrote down in notes. Something just occurred to me the other day. But I think it's a fair point. You know, Gaunt, straight away, he's your fucking bad guy, and we know what he's doing. Okay, so this is a story about a man who opens up a shop in a small town in Maine, and everything that he sells you, he'll sell for a cheap price, but then there's another half to the price. You have to do a deed. You have to play a trick on someone in town so that they don't know it's you. And they won't know it's you. They'll think it's their enemy. Literally, within about 6 days, everybody's been coming and going from Needful Things and playing pranks on each other. This town is a fucking powder keg about to explode. Now, I mentioned Stephen King's cocaine addiction, okay? So, we're not there yet. I've read this book about 15, 20 fucking times, right? So the fact that I'm reading it now, slowly, just to sort of take it in for this group, it's cool, but I want to get ahead of myself. I want to tell you things, but I can't. So from chapters 1 to 8, let's just have a look. So chapter 1 is Brian Rusk. Chapter 2, it really gets us to meet some of the townspeople. Chapter 3, we meet Alan, the good guy, right? Now, Alan is our good guy. Sorry, my TV's fucking around. It's better. Alan is the good guy. Okay, he's our sheriff. We've met him before. He helped Thad Beaumont in the Dark Half stop George Stark. And that supernatural shit is floating around in Alan's head. He's not the kind of guy that really believes in supernatural shit, especially now the world's gone back to normal after the Dark Half. But what he experienced in that other King book, he brings to this new novel, Needful Things. So we have a new, more open-minded Alan Pangborn, our sheriff. There's a scene where Alan goes to visit Leyland Gaunt, and Gaunt knows about it because he's set up a spy. So straight away he puts clothes he's out fucking picking up stock. But he's standing outside the glass door and he's looking out into Main Street as Pangborn walks up, and Alan Pangborn's looking through the window and gets a glimpse of Gaunt. Now we know he does, okay? He sees Gaunt even though Gaunt has done something cool to himself. Now, this discussion's pretty much all over the place because it's only 8 chapters, but I have to discuss things, right? So, has anybody out there in Stephen King land read Eyes of the Dragon? Now, in Eyes of the Dragon, our bad guy's name is Flag, a magician, right? Randall Flagg, but just way back in the day, Flag. He can walk through the castle and make himself dim. So he's not invisible, he's there, but nobody notices him, nobody smells him, nobody senses him, nothing. He's dim. Now, Leyland Gaunt makes himself dim without using that word dim. So that's a regurgitation of a Stephen King idea, but it's cool. We all get it if we're King fans. We know what Gaunt's done. He's made himself dim while he stands in the door watching Alan. See-through glass, Alan should be able to see him, but he doesn't. But for a second, he does. Because of the fucking George Stark, Thad Beaumont fucking sparrows are flying shit from the Dark Half. It's opened his mind somehow. That makes Gaunt realise Alan's very dangerous. We have to keep him away from us while we're doing our crazy evil business, right? So, there we go. So, different, Gaunt makes himself dim. Now, Brian in his dreams. So, the kid, he has to do a deed on someone in town. Brian, the first kid that comes to see Gaunt. First thing he sees, Gaunt shows him, is a 1956 Sandy Koufax baseball card, right? This thing is as rare as fucking hen's teeth. And it just makes Brian... It's the key to Brian and starting off this whole fucking apocalyptic, horrifying end of this town. Brian walks out with his baseball card. Cost him 99 cents, I think. Forgetting what the other part of the price was. Forgetting what Gaunt said. Gaunt asked him to play a trick on a woman in town called Wilma. Which he does. And so we start meeting everyone in town. And everyone's doing tricks on each other. But the tricks and the mayhem hasn't really started yet. Like I said, so chapter 1's Brian Russ, chapter 2, we talk about the town, the people, chapter 3 is Alan, chapter 4 is Polly, Alan, Rosalie, Casino Night, right? So there's Catholics and born-agains, right, in this town of Castle Rock. And there's already a beef between them. You know, like the Christians think that the Catholics are fucking hellbound. Probably are. Probably both are. Fuck, I don't believe in that shit. Anyway. So chapter 4, we meet Buster Keaton, the town selectman, this over-energized maniac of an aggravated fucking man. Who did he remind me of? I think I wrote that down. Buster reminds me of someone, Buster, Fave. Buster is a fucking psychopath. Or Danforth Keaton, but Buster Keaton, the old silent actor. Everybody calls him Buster, and he hates the fucking nickname. But he's out of his mind. Reminds me of Norman Daniels from Rose Madder. Just a psychopath. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Anyway, so we meet the town selectmen. In chapter 5, we've already met Hugh Priest. We're talking about Polly, Alan. Again, Hugh Priest is this alcoholic in town that always gets cut off at the fucking local tavern. Always kicks the local tavern owner's fucking rockola, which is just a fucking jukebox. And he's just an angry alcoholic man. He buys something from Leland Gaunt and has to do some tricks on people. Thing is, we've seen the trick that Brian is pulling on Wilma. We've seen that. Apart from that, we know there's tricks to be played, but so far they haven't been played yet. So chapter 1 to 8 is really just that one there's just that one prank. But I've read this book over and over, like I've said, and chapter 9 we start to really see what's going on. So I'm glad we did it this way anyway. Well, I'm glad I did it this way for my channel, Liam's Library, chapter 1 to 8. It really kind of lays the foundations down for what you're in for. And you're in for a lot. You're in for a lot, and it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to say. Otherwise I'll just be repeating myself, but I really think it's cool that we're in on Gaunt's joke. You know what I mean? The town isn't. The town is about to get pranked. We are in on the joke. As soon as we get to Castle Rock, he asks us to sit down and enjoy the fucking fireworks, and we get to. He pulls no punches, and he doesn't give us a mystery. He gives Castle Rock the mystery. He gives us entertainment. And that's it. So I'm going to finish there. My next one will be chapters 9 to 17, I reckon. And I will report back to you in a few weeks with that one. A few weeks. We're all getting ahead of ourselves anyway. I also still have to do my night shift reviews. Strawberry Spring is next. Can't fucking wait. And I'm also going to review Daphne du Maurier's The Birds. That's later. So look after one another, man. Read some great fucking books. Watch some even better fucking movies. And take care of one another. Don't take no shit from anybody either.